We have a very special guest today, one you guys have all been requesting. We have Bridget's sister, Anastasia.
Woo-hoo!
Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Anastasia, you have no idea how many people have requested to have you interviewed or have questions for you.
Oh boy.
So let's get right to it. I wanted to start out first by just kind of discussing our relationship prior to Playboy and all of that kind of stuff. Because I mean, I feel like people don't really know the whole story or anything like that. They just know that you're my sister. But
wait, I thought she was your daughter.
Yeah.
Anastasia, did you hear about that rumor when the Mean Girls were trying to start that rumor?
Yeah, it was like, oh, that's funny. And like, I guess if she was real young and got started, and Bridget was so miffed about it.
Yeah, world news, 12-year-old births child.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can see it on the National Enquirer now.
I was like, it's weird, but I was like, whatever. Random.
Yeah. And you're much younger. As we just said, I was 12 when you were born. So, obviously it was a second marriage and all that kind of stuff. So I did babysit you a lot when you were little and took care of you a lot when you were little because mom worked full time and Jeff worked full time. So, there's a lot of big sistering.
Oh, that's so cute.
We're just like, we're not doing that.
I was like, what happened? Where did she go?
Because you were dressing me up.
I love to dress you up and I love to put makeup on you. I love to make you into like a skater chick or like I had different ideas in that case.
I'll send you all those pictures. She always sends me clips and I was like this posing with my hair and I'm like, what, 4? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you were younger than that. You're like 2. You barely had any hair to curl, but I was like curling it.
Oh yeah.
And then I left for a little while and then I did come back later on. I kind of ran away from home for a while.
Yes. I remember this.
And because I didn't get along with what?
Wait, sorry to cut you off. I go, wait, explain, because viewers are going to be, or listeners are going to be like, you ran away?
Yeah, I ran away because I wasn't getting along with my stepdad. So we got in a big blowout fight one night and I packed up and left and didn't come back. Anyway, and so then I moved back home and we were close again. And then eventually, like, I went off to school and to start my own life and got married and all that kind of stuff. But there's a question here from one of the fans in French style said, "Hi, Anastasia. Can you tell us what it was like growing up with Bridget as a big sister? What kind of fun things did you do? And what are some of your fondest memories?"
That's a lot of information in one question. Well, like, I can say that it probably wasn't a whole lot of memories with you. When I was young, it was Eddie. I mean, I remember like us like rushing who's gonna get to the bathroom first. You know, it was like me. It was like, but then you were gone, so there's me and Eddie. And then I just grew up as a tomboy. Ernie, like I'd be like jumping around him, and he was just like, "Shut up!" And then I got like a pin cap stuck up my nose. I was like, "I got some pin cap stuck up my nose." And when you come out, you're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing." And he's like, "She's annoying. Let's go." So those are like the memories mainly. I remember helping you scrapbook. That was fun. I always made the pictures that were supposed to be nice and round, all jagged. You'd be like, "No, you can't continue to keep cutting my pictures."
Fired scrapbook cutter.
Yeah. And then at some point I leave and I get married and I have a house somewhere else and you were home alone. Eddie like goes off and he's busy and you are home alone during the summers, and tell us about that.
Yeah, so that's when we, I think, make the connection, us with our relationship. Just got really lonely. I mean, you're out in the middle of nowhere. There's nobody I can hang out with. My friend is like closest is like, she's like 45 miles away or something.
Wow.
It's absurd. And no one's going to take you to her place. She's not going to come over to see you. So yeah, it's really lonely. 8 to 5, And once Eddie was gone, we weren't watching all our daytime shows, you know? I was just like, man, what am I going to do? So I don't know. I guess I was like 12 or 13. I just started, I don't know, feeling sad. Like I just didn't like being alone. And it was like, well, what happens if I'm not here? Like, what if I'm just not here? I don't think I even understood the concept of like death or suicide, but I didn't attempt anything, but I just was like, no one seems to care if I'm here or not. So might as well just not be here. Like, and then I think said something to my mom and she was like, well, maybe we should figure that out. So here we go to the kid therapist. I think it started earlier than that with something else, but different story. But yeah, so that one followed a different trajectory. So, but then we're like, you know what? Nothing's going to change with the summers. You're always going to be alone. We're just like, well, she can come help. We have tons of stuff to do, work at the house. And I was like, okay. I mean, I wasn't looking for like chores, but you know, it's cool. I already had chores to do at home, but you know.
When were you first aware of that I wanted to be part of Playboy?
And, you know, I think that domestic life wasn't for you. And I think you were like, you know, let me try this out. Like, I don't want to just settle down. I have this goal and I have always had a goal. I don't know when you decided that because you were pretty much like skater girl. And it definitely, was not there for the transition from like that to I want to be hottie toddy and in Playboy. I'm not quite sure actually when that transition. Also, it's just like, well, you always did pageants and stuff, but so I guess that probably was a good clue to things.
I'm like, I wasn't always skater girl. I was totally doing pageants and modeling stuff and spokesmodeling and like beer advertisement stuff and like
later on, yes, like that. The trajectory was later on, and my memories are like very like choppy. But once it was like, oh yeah, you want to try and go for that, and Chad was like, okay. So then we fast forward to you moving to LA and then living in the apartment. I love that apartment.
I love that apartment too. My first apartment.
Yeah.
What?
I want that life again. I love walking down. I could just like live by myself whenever you're at the mansion before I start going there. And it was just like so cool. I go to the Hollywood or the Blockbuster and I go to like Rouse and I just be like, I don't know how 14, like I'm just living on my own. This is awesome. I don't pay rent here. But I can stay here.
Well, you had to be older than that because I didn't move to LA until December of 2001. And so then the first time you would have come to the apartment would have been like in 2002 sometime. And I tried to get you to come because I was invited to the mansion for Easter and I was allowed to bring like a little kid or something if you have one. And I was like, oh, maybe my sister can come with. And I called to try and get Anastasia to come. And I'll let Anastasia tell a story from there.
Oh, I was just really bummed because it got vetoed by because mom was like, oh, that's exciting. I was like, yeah. I was like, I have no idea what she's talking about, but I would love to just go to wherever she's talking this places. And dad had super conservative parents. And we're like, yeah, no, that would look bad for the whole family. Like I thought I was going to ruin my reputation. And like the family really meant so much that about their opinions that we just couldn't ruin her like that. Like Bridget's already ruined. We cannot ruin Oh yeah, no, Papa and Nana, they absolutely were like no to Bridget. When she went to that side, the dark side, they're
no.
they didn't even know who she was.
Oh my God.
They were accepting. But that whole like you first getting there, yeah, I mean, you went there and hung out at Christmas.
Well,
later on.
I don't think they had a choice in it. I just showed up.
True. But I think eventually they were like, they saw that it wasn't like ruinous to the reputation. So they were like, and not like sadistic things happening. So I think they were just very scared. And so was dad about just what that meant and not sure what that is, which is understandable, I guess. I mean, no one really understood, I think, until they started filming.
Yeah. So you didn't get to come, but you did get to come for the summer and stay at my apartment with me. By then you're 15.
15. Sounds good. Yep.
But I don't think that you might have come to the mansion for like an occasional dinner and a movie or something, but I don't think you were coming there at all for things.
No, I don't. I think for the first year that I went there, I don't think I was even
Didn't go at all.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so you just stayed at my apartment, and then I would occasionally go over to the mansion for like fun in the sun or for dinner and a movie, and like club nights or whatever. And you stayed at my apartment when I was gone. But for the most part, during the day and during the week and stuff, I was at the apartment with you.
Yeah. No, I had a great time. It was so fun. I was like a little mini adult. It was so cool.
So then the next summer when you come back, I'm living at the mansion. And I have to ask Hef if you could come and stay at the mansion with me.
Yes.
And you're 16.
Yes.
And when I was first talking about it, Holly was like, no.
Yeah, I just felt like that place was kind of getting weird. Not weird where I felt like people were in danger or anything, but I felt like all of a sudden there were a lot of like older kids. Like Hef's kids were kind of creeping over a little bit more at like times I felt were inappropriate, like when we were getting home from the clubs and when it was obvious what was going on. And then like a couple of the girlfriends had like tween, like early teen kids that were coming over. And I'm like, why is this place a romper room all of a sudden? Because I didn't feel comfortable because like, not that you saw any of it, like you were more like in Bridget's room, but like there were times when we would come home from the clubs and like other people's kids are like running through the hallway and like listening at the doors when everybody's in the bedroom. And I'm like, I don't feel comfortable with this. Like however anybody else wants to parent, that's fine. But I didn't feel comfortable like being on the other end of it. I felt like this is just getting a weird, slippery slope, which obviously once you were there, I loved having you there. But at the time, I'm like, wait, there's like another teenager. Like, what is happening?
No, I definitely understand that. Like that would make sense. I didn't even realize I'm petting this cat. No, that makes sense. And yeah, no, I stayed away. Like, I think there was the knowing the rules, like okay, you're going to go have adult time. I'm staying in the room. We'll chat when about like other things when you get back and go to bed. Yeah, I don't know about anyone running up to the door to listen to it. That's funny, but
Ew.
Stay away from that door.
What'd you think about the mansion when you first went there?
That it was cool. I've always loved history and old historic houses, so that was always neat. It's like a little Tudor mansion. I love Tudor mansions. And it's dark and musty and old like a Tudor mansion. But still obviously lively with lots of people and something always going on. It was always so weird when there'd be times where there would be no one around. It was creepy. But it was just kind of amazing. I don't think I've ever had seen a house that big.
And you got to see it from a unique perspective because like we would all go out and you would basically have the mansion. I mean, obviously there were still butlers there and a few security around or whatever, but you basically had the mansion to yourself.
That's what I mean. I was like, it'd be like, Tuesday night. And I'm like, I'd open the door and I'd be like, there's like nobody. I think I just stayed in my room.
Were there ever any places you felt like were off limits, like Beauty and the Beast, West Wing style?
I would definitely like obviously Hef's room, Kevin's room, any of the rooms, except Bridget's. The office, like obviously I wasn't like gonna go down the hallway and just I think they even locked it anyways, but I never even really felt comfortable going down to the stair, like into the dining room. Like I isolate myself anyways as a person. So I just stayed in the room. I was very happy with that. If I had to do anything, go down there, I'd be like, am I even wearing anything appropriate? Like, I don't want to have to get dressed. I don't have to worry about it. Like if I had food ordered up, I'd just be like, put something on real quick and then grab it. And then like a hermit. Yeah.
Like, just this like clock reaches out of the door and pulls it in.
Go, leave. It's all dark.
What about like the grotto or the gym or anything like that? Did you use any of those kind of facilities, the tanning bed and stuff while we were gone?
I think yes. Once we got into a routine, if I was feeling like I should go work out or like do the tanning, I don't think I ever did the grotto, but I just did like the gym, and that was fun because I could like turn the music on and like there's always like fun like the bongo board or whatever. And,
Oh
like,
yeah, I forgot about the bongo board.
Yeah. So they had like the spa or the sauna too. So it was like then you could just go take a shower, and it was just like you had your whole gym to yourself. So it was cool. Yeah, I did do that. That was fun.
And what were your thoughts of Hef?
Nice and like traditional, and I was nervous obviously because I still don't think I knew much about him, but I just didn't want to like fuck it up, like I didn't want to be like accidentally like hug him too hard or slip and fall, or I like was watching those episodes where I was hugging him like this, like air hugs almost. Yeah, and I was like, and I don't know, was hugging the right thing? I don't have no idea. I think I would just did it just to make it less awkward situation. Because I think most of the time he kissed girls, so I was just like, I'll just do a hug.
Did you ever notice him going in for the open mouth peck on people? Because that's something that I never saw until I watched the show back.
Maybe, I don't know. Open mouth, like a French style,
just like gaping open mouth, but a peck. It was so weird. But the even weirder thing is I didn't notice it at the time. It's like I'm watching it back now and I'm like, that's fucking weird. Like, why is he making a frog face?
Well, then he would pucker his lips and then do like, but I don't remember that specifically. Yeah. At least he didn't do it to me.
Were you aware of the situation with the mean girls and that kind of stuff going on? Like the dynamics of the group?
Yeah. It's weird to think about that time because it was obviously I don't think a lot of it was going down while I was still at the apartment. Because there was a moment where even though you were living mostly at the mansion, you still had your apartment for a little bit. So there was a lot where I wasn't even there. And then when you got rid of the apartment, then I was fully transitioned to being there. But I think by that point, like they were already on their way out.
Do you remember when we went to Black Angus for dinner? We thought we had time.
I didn't care if you had time or not. I was like, yeah, we got time. Let's do this. It was like 6:30. I'm like, she's so going to be late. I don't care. And you're like, God, you had to be convinced. And I was like, let's just do it. Let's do it. They got the cake. They got like the bread. And they got I was like, come on. And you're like, okay, never again. I was like, God damn. I was like, this is annoying. That's curfew thing.
Yeah.
But you even called in. But it was like too late. It was like it didn't matter.
Well, I called, but they were in watching a movie.
Oh, right.
And I don't think it mattered. You weren't allowed to be late. Like even if you called and said you're going to be late, like you just weren't allowed to be late.
Oh, I was like, yeah, it's fine. It was amazing. Really good.
It was good. I don't know if it was worth it, but it was good.
Yeah, we never did it again.
So I'm living at the mansion. You're coming to stay for the summers and sometimes for some other little things too. But you weren't allowed to come down to the parties, even though you were there for like midsummers and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But even though you weren't allowed, I know at least one of the years you were like, I'm going to sneak down. And I was like, just don't let Hef see you, like, because we'll get in trouble.
I don't think I was the instigator of that. I think like some of the other girls and everything were like, come on, let's just have her.
Crystal really wanted you to go down there, and Stacy was encouraging it too.
Laurent did my hair and Crystal did my makeup. And I was, at that point, it was like, Bridget, do you got anything for her to wear? And you're like, I guess. But she cannot be seen at a table. She can't be known that she's down here. And then literally like an hour into it, I'm at the table talking to you, and
I know.
And he just looks at me and he sits down and just keeps doing whatever he was doing. And Bridget's like, and I'm like, and she's like, and I was like, I don't know if he ever said anything to you after. I can't remember, but
yeah, he told me. I saw. Don't think I didn't see your sister was there.
Oh my God, that's funny.
But he thought I was going to take a longer pee break. That's what I went in for. I was like, he's gone.
But I don't think Yeah, I don't think I mean, he obviously said you couldn't go, but I don't think that he was like so pissed that you were there either. I think he expected that maybe you might sneak down at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have any, there was no punishment or anything. So I was just like,
Yeah. What were your thoughts on when you heard we were going to start filming a TV show?
I was like, how's that going to work? I was like, okay, cool. But I didn't really understand, grasp it. And then I was like, and then I was, of course, just thinking, what about how do I fit into all this? Because I'm going to probably just look like a weirdo hanging in the background because they clearly had the characters and they were, building the show off of that. And I was like, so I just tried to be, first thing I thought was just make yourself a fly on the wall, just be as inconspicuous as possible. Like if they were there, I tried not to say things like originally before they like brought me in. So yeah, but at first I was like, oh, that's really cool. I was like, wait, like how does that work?
Yeah. Well, the first summer that we started filming in 2005, we started filming just before I think you. Well, wait, you might have. No, you weren't there yet, or at least when we were talking about filming and like trying to figure out what we were going to film, you weren't there yet. And then when I mentioned that my sister is going to be coming for the summer, and at this point you would have been. Let me see. We started filming in 2005, so you would have been 18, right?
I think so. Well,
yeah, 18. Because you were 18. So I told Kevin that my sister's coming to stay, and he's like, how old is she? And I was like, 18. And he was like, oh my God, she's so close to Kendra's age. Like he had this whole thing in his mind that you were going to come to the mansion and all of a sudden be like BFFs with Kendra. And he like just had this whole storyline in his head and he was so excited about it. And he was like plotting all these scenes for you and Kendra. Tell me about that.
Well, once you told me, I don't think he ever talked directly to me about that, but I think somebody or you passed it on. I was like, is she a person I would normally hang out with? And it's like once I like saw her and met her, I was like, no. I don't know what we would have done. Like she likes sports. I hate sports. She likes to go out. I like to stay in. It's like a Taylor Swift song. It's like she wore but I mean, no one really wore high heels on that, and like she liked sneakers too. But anyways, I was like, no, and they kind of just kept pushing for it. Like I don't even know. It wasn't you. It was whoever, because I don't know. It was
the producers. Like the field producers that were there. So we're filming and you were there from the beginning, but they just don't acknowledge you. You're like this like weird person that's just like kind of always around, but never identified at first.
But I also was fine with that. I purposely, like if they were filming, I would sidestep, and not talk, because I was like, that's fine. Because then we can go on with our day.
What was it like watching this film but not being a part of it? Did you like want to be a part of it, or were you like, this is cool to watch, or like, oh God, I shouldn't have come this year?
No, I think it was cool to be there and see it happening. And I was like, this is what they do in Hollywood, right? Like they set scenes up and then they make you, it's supposed to be real life, but reality TV, but it was anything but. And so that was interesting to see. But no, I was actually happy to not be considered. I was like, I'm cool not being involved in this. I don't want to do my makeup and I don't do my hair, clearly, as you can tell. And I was just fine with that. I was like, I don't want to stress about that. I wake up and I just go. So I was totally fine not being involved.
One thing I can say about our show, though, is I know people say it wasn't really reality, but in a lot of ways it wasn't. But in a lot of ways it was. Like, I feel like it was legitimately our schedule and legitimately things that we were going to do. And, but maybe we had to like do it from one side of the door and then walk out and then come back in and do it from the other side of the door, or like repeat scenes and things like that, which aren't reality. But I feel like a lot of it was based on reality, a lot more than other reality shows, I think, are.
Yeah. No, it definitely wasn't like we were altering like things just for the show. There were some events that, maybe were like more important to like construct for the show, but it was like mostly day-to-day life. But I think at that time I didn't even realize that reality shows make you stop and walk back through a door. I was like, if I was going to be Blair Witch Project, I'm like, what do you, and they're like, oh, we didn't hear you. You got to speak that and say that again. I'm like, say what again? They're like, you said, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, is this a script? Like, what's happening? They'll roll back and I'd be like, can we just walk through the door? I just want to walk through the door. Like, so that's what was weird for me. I was like, this is not reality.
Yeah. I have a couple of questions from some of the fans again. This one's from Aurora. Hi, Anastasia. I always love seeing you on the show. 2 questions. What would you do when it was club night? Oh, we kind of talked about this already. And the girls would go out. And what was your hobby as a teenager? And has it changed now?
I turned the music up. It was like, the early 2000s, and there was like the electro music. Like all
you heard it coming out of the room, like the Mel C Spice Girl song?
No. I had my
That's
music.
just what you would listen to? Okay.
Yeah, the radio's like
was also what we were listening to.
Well, I mean, it was great stuff at the time, like Night at the Roxbury. It was like, and then you'd come in. I always knew when you guys got home. By that point, I was already like tired and myself, and I was like, but I knew that like you guys weren't gonna be that long, and so I'd wait for you to come back and like we'd eat something and talk and go to bed. But you'd always like come in, like drop your stuff, and then be like, all right, you back. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, that kind of leads into the next question. This is from Sarah Ann. Hi, Anastasia. I'm so curious about your time at the mansion. Also insanely jealous that you and Bridget got to spend summers together. I'm super close to my sister, and it sounds like such an extended vacay. My question is for you, during club nights and after, were you aware of what the girls had to do, their routine? Was it awkward at such a young age to kind of wait around for your sister to return? That's part of the question. Then there's another part.
Yeah. If I thought about it, I think at first you didn't indulge about what was happening too much.
Yeah, I think I just told you that there was like we did like an after party in the room.
Right. And then I think like as it became where I was staying there, like that was like when I was at the apartment, like I had no idea. Because you're just gone, you're at the party. But when you started coming back and then leaving again, I'd be like, what? I was like, you're like, we're just gonna be in Hef's room. I'm like, okay. And then as few more nights went by, it was kind of like, you're like, so like kind of like sitting me down, like, so we're, just so things go on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I think I figured, but it was nice for you to like kind of be like, just so you're not like completely in the dark, but like not always going to show details. But then sometimes when I was really bored, I'd be like poking around your scrapbooks, and I'd pull out your scrapbooks, and I'm like, oh, oh, there's everyone in Hef's bed and naked and in the bathtub. I'm like, oh, that's that photo album. We'll put that away. So then I understood, I think, a little bit more.
Yeah, there's some crazy shit in the pictures he was passing out. You guys, there's a coyote sunbathing in my yard right now in the back. And he's staring I was staring at the window and I took a video and at this picture, and he's staring at me just like he's a dog who found a spot.
That's so funny, because remember when I was leaving your house like a few weeks ago and there was a coyote in your yard and he was just chilling, walking down the steps with me and like hanging out?
Yeah, the coyotes in this neighborhood, everybody's like, watch out for your dogs. And I do like take care of my dog, obviously, but they're really like timid and just kind of chill, and it's interesting.
That's not what we have here.
They're
aggressive. They freaking gang up and attack all the dogs, and even not even small ones. Just like they just come right up to you, but they are not friendly. They are not timid.
Oh man.
Oh, this one was outside Holly's door when I walked out one day, and he walked down the hill with me and walked me to my car, and then he went off on his merry little way.
Funny.
You might be like a released or mixed coyote. Like
I was talking to him and stuff. I was like, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, what's going on?"
Been released, and like he definitely has an imprinting on him, or he's a mixed something or other. I doubt that he's full coyote if he's doing that.
I wonder if there's a whole herd of mixed ones up here, because there's like a herd of just like chill coyotes. It's weird.
Really odd.
Well, this Sarah Ann has another question for you, and she said this one's very important because she's a foodie. What was your favorite mansion order?
Ooh, I like this one.
I mean, there's so many desserts and stuff, but like, I don't know. I can't get over that bean dip that you the freaking bean dip with the pita chips. Like, oh, you're like, you want some the bean and cheese? I'm like, yes. And it was real hard not to like want like also bring up the Rice Krispie treats, bring up the brownie,
the bricks
tonight. Yeah, and it was like,
Bridget,
I would go there and look.
Bridget, do you have the bean dip recipe?
I do. It's very, very simple. I still make it.
Ooh, yum.
Yeah, it's delicious. And I love the chicken tacos. Because he would cut it in little cubes and it would just get like that little bit of like glazed crispiness on them.
What was the chef?
Ramon.
Oh my god. Yeah,
I love Ramon. He's getting so many plugs on this podcast.
I know.
Do you still talk to him?
I haven't talked to him in for a really long time.
I love just watching it, like even seeing like Bryant in that show, the Just Shoot Me or whatever. And I was like, Bryant! Because like we were like at UCLA together and we would have lunch and he'd take me to his like his mouse research office at UCLA. I'm like, I don't want to know what you're doing to these things.
Aww.
Yeah, but yeah, and just like everyone. So it was like, oh, memories.
There were a lot of questions about like what you do at the mansion all day. Like, what does she do? Like, she doesn't have the same schedule as everybody else. And I just want everyone to know, I mentioned this in our episode too, but I want everybody to know how busy that I kept you and that you didn't have a lot of downtime. So the second we left, you were like, hooray, because like I would get you up in the morning and we were like working out, and then we had errands and fittings and salon appointments and going downtown to get crystals and all kinds of stuff. And like we had shopping on Melrose, we got to get the car washed, we had like so many things, and you were just dying. Tell everybody.
And no food options except for really trashy lingerie wouldn't have the little Twix bars or something. They're probably like years old. Oh my god! I'd be like looking at the street like garbage, being like, "That looks good. We need food." We're right down the street from the mall. Let's go get some food. Yeah, no, I loved it. Missed it when I came back home, but like especially in that first like week after not being with you. And like not being used to that pace, it was like, oh my god, this is draining. Like literally not ever coming back home from the morning. Bless you.
Thank you.
From like the beginning of the day and then the end of the day. And yeah, it's like, what did she have to do that was so important? I'm like, I don't know. Got a lot of stuff. And it starts off with the boot camp in the morning, and I'm like, okay, we scratch that off. That'd be great. We'd start that off and scratch it off. It'd be awesome.
You're a trooper, because I could have never kept up with Barry's boot camp.
Oh my god. It was like, I just glared at him. Just glared.
Well, here's the thing too. So I don't eat unless I'm hungry. And I'm not always hungry. And I don't even snack usually. Occasionally. I don't think I don't snack, but like I don't typically snack on a regular day. Anastasia, on the other hand, needs to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks in between.
I'm right with you, Anna. I'm right with you.
I don't need like the 3 square meals, although that is what I was brought up on. But like, I love breakfast. I'm weird. I'm hungry the minute I wake up. Doesn't matter what hour. Like if I'm going for a plane flight, and like people are like, oh, I can't eat. That's too early in the morning. I'm like, I'm ready. Where's the McDonald's breakfast? I can forgo lunch. I don't even care about dinner. I don't mind snacking around those times, but I also hate snacking. But when you're forced, like you don't just have food available, like you just want to eat. Like I just want something. Like we pass by all these fast food restaurants, and it'd be like, I wonder. I never wanted to be the person to say I was hungry. I would wait till it was like wasting away at 4:00 in the afternoon. All we had all day was a coffee and a Twix trashy, and I'm like,
Twix trashy.
I think I'm hungry, and I'm like, are you hungry? I'm like, yeah. I'd be like trying not to order like everything off the menu, and then just down it, you know. So, and then we wouldn't eat dinner till like, 9, 10 o'clock at night, but that's fine because you didn't eat till like 4 o'clock in the afternoon for the first time. So for the sequential summers, I started bringing my own cereal. So that way I didn't have to keep like, I just could eat dry cereal while we were getting ready in the morning, like checking the emails. Cause I was like, coffee's not for me. Can't do that. I didn't want to have to keep having like those big breakfasts that I saw in the episode. I was like, oh my God, it's embarrassing. I like literally have like eggs and toast. And I was telling you last night about it, and you're like, yeah, and fruit. I'm like, yes, plates. I was in bed. I was like, I'm just eating. And I was like telling my husband, I'm like, it's because there was never any food. Like if we were going to the photo shoot, the place, we may order food, but who knows what time it is. No one's gonna, like, I wasn't gonna eat without Bridget, so it just would come and sit there and be waiting for them to take a break. They may not get that break, and I'd be like, can I eat now? And so I was like, there may not be food. And then the next clip is like us walking down and we're at the mansion and there's like sandwiches and chips. And I'm like, okay, well that was like a weird one-off. What, plus I didn't like their sandwiches. They were gross. And I was like, it didn't feel like pigging out at that moment. I just wanted to do my breakfast.
You just brought back a weird memory for me. I totally forgot that after the movie that they would set out those little mini sandwiches.
Oh yeah. Like I love the egg salad ones. No, they made really good egg salad minis. They were so good.
Back out, and I was like, yes.
And they put dessert back out. Yeah. So for after the movie, you could go back in and have little sandwiches and dessert, and like they had coffee out and that kind of stuff.
I looked at the sandwiches. I was like, no. Glad I ate my big breakfast.
That's so funny. And then when we were at the mansion, there wasn't downtime either because I was like, oh, let's scrapbook. Oh, here, you can help me rhinestone my shoes. And what made me think of that too was there's this funny scene in the episode where you're like half asleep laying on the bed, but you've got like my shoe in your in your lap. And I was like, oh, she's falling asleep rhinestoning.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was like, they'll never put this in. And they're just wasting camera time. Like they're just filming things to like, I don't know, fill in gaps or whatever. So I was like, I'm just gonna, I don't even care. I'm just gonna put my eyes back. That's like the one clip I always saw is like the previews were like coming up. I'm like, come on. Like the one time that I'm like, they'll never use this footage. And I'm like, I was like, but who cares? It felt great. I was like, she's not around. I'm just gonna, the glue's like drying. Like, I think I was actually just holding, like waiting for it to dry before I went to the next one. But I was like, all right, I can take a moment to breathe.
It's always like the footage you think they're not going to use.
Mm-hmm. They're like, this is great. She looks like a lazy person. We're going to include that.
I was like, oh, okay. So Anastasia's sleeping on the job I gave her.
Yeah. I'll get my second wind somewhere.
So the first time they like acknowledge you on the show is when we're getting ready to go to North Carolina. Then they have to like concede that, oh wait, her sister's here, by the way.
Surprise.
And we go get Winnie in Atlanta. How'd you feel about actually like getting mic'd and being part of the show now?
Annoyed. I didn't. It was just more things, like, especially if you already were dressed and they had to like stick it down your bra and then you're all sweaty and they have to adjust it every once in a while and you're like, can you just like, I just want to not be this. Yeah, like it was fine waiting and have it done to you, but then I was included, and so things just always took longer.
No one likes getting mic'd. Out of all the shows I've worked on, I've noticed that even though it's kind of a small thing in the grand scheme of things, nobody really likes getting mic'd, and it's always kind of a thing that like makes people grumpy, I've noticed.
Well, it also burns. Like it got really hot between my bra and like my shoulder blades, and I'm like, and it'd be sweaty and gross. Yeah. And every time they would adjust it, I'd feel like bad for them because I'm like, okay, it's not exactly nice and cool back there. And I'd be like, is it like time now to like bring this thing off? Yeah.
That just brought back another memory. And Holly, you can probably relate to this even more, but maybe Anastasia too. I just remember like doing like a really good scene and stuff. And then like the sound guy would be like looking all confused and be like, Bridget, can you come here? I think I need to change the batteries in your mic. I think your batteries are dead. And then having to like read, and then, okay, can we do that again? Then I'm like, wait, we have to do it again? You're like, you didn't get it? No, your batteries were dead. I'm like, oh my God. Seriously, you guys?
What were you paying attention to then while you were...
Yeah, like stop it before it got to this point. Like...
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the boom for then?
Yeah.
Just for emphasis.
Yeah. So, okay, let's get to watching us shoot our pictorial. What was that like for you? Was it awkward? Were you jealous? Were you bored? Were you happy for us? Was it all of those things? None of those things?
I don't remember being jealous because I was like, nah, I would rather keep my clothes on and just sit here and not do anything. That's my goal in life. I was bored. I won't lie. I was tired, hungry, and waiting for it to be over.
You just need to start ordering some food, Anastasia.
I didn't have I mean, it was like I didn't have my own money usually, and I'm going off of what other people were having to go get it for me. Just a side note, like you were like, I was ordering lots of like things from the butlers one night, and you're like, they're not your personal butlers. And I was like, but I can't just go down there. So like, if I want some ketchup, oh, now I need some salt. Oh, I need a drink. I can't just like walk down. Like I could, but like it's not, like I'd be more in the way. And so like with DeAndre would always be like, all right. And you're like, you just need to stop calling. I was like, I remember that. I felt so bad. I was like, I would just rather do my own thing. But yeah, so it always felt like I'd never had control of the food situation. So, but no, it was long and lengthy, and I don't think I had a good cell phone to do anything off. If I tried reading something, it was like I was falling asleep. And the only thing hanging around was probably a Playboy magazine, which of no interest to me. Like read for the articles, but they were too highfalutin over my head. So yeah, it was a lot. I think I would try and sleep. I try to get some energy by faking and liking drinking tea or coffee if people got that, because it was some kind of food at least.
Well, I think also like they show you looking like bored or jealous or things like that in the scenes and stuff, and I feel like what people don't realize, and what I tried to explain in the episode, is that you're standing around for hours. You're watching hours of our hair getting blown out and our makeup getting done, and then testing the lighting, and then we break for lunch, which that part you're probably happy about, and then we got to test for lighting again and touch up the makeup and the hair, and then we start shooting, and then it's like hours of shooting, and then every time we switch something, everything needs to be switched out, and it's really, really, really long days. And if you're not the model, it's very long and very boring with like really nothing to do.
You have no adrenaline going because there's nothing exciting to be prepared for. I'm like just trying to find a comfy spot on the couch that I'm not in the way. And the only good times for me was when you guys would come break from the photo shoot, because yeah, I could go in there and watch it, but it was just so much maneuvering, and there was no place to like really sit, and I wasn't really planning on standing for hours, and I didn't really care to sit, put your hand right below her boob, and I was like, whatever. So it's just like, I'll just go back into the makeup room or whatever. And of course you couldn't talk to like the hairstylist or the makeup people because they were all in there too, and you couldn't talk to them there because everyone had to like be on guard. And I was like,
I liked having you there though, because then at the end of the day I had somebody to talk to, but like, how did it look? What were people saying? Like, what did it, what'd you think? Like, get like your perspective, and if you heard any chatter behind the scenes kind of thing, and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, which I did. Yeah. And that's why I think I tried to not completely take myself out. Like I would go in and check things out and, be like, this is cool. And it was like to see like the photos and how they're doing them and everything like that. But it was like the repeats and the retakes and stuff that wasn't like, oh my God, this is going to do it. We're just doing it because we need the extra film. And it was like, it's like, I just can't, I'm not a Hollywood person. Like I can't do like those times where you did, like we went to like Sony Slot Studios or whatever, and like you would film a couple of things. I mean, the studio lot was cool, but like we would be there till like 2-3 in the morning. I mean, they had the kitchen thing, the craft services. And I was like, that's so cool. People rate it. And everyone's like, who's this person that's on the set with you? Like, that's my sister. I was like, no, I can't do this late night thing. Like, this doesn't work out. I can't do this, like, and like just watching it, I'm like, this is so boring.
It's not for everybody.
It's definitely not.
So this is kind of a similar question, but this is from a fan. It's from Heather's. Hi, Anastasia. Was it awkward watching the pictorial shoot, or were you just happy that Bridget was able to live out a dream of hers? I mean, you had to have known how much I wanted that.
Yes. No, I was happy for you generally. But the day-to-day stuff, I don't know. I don't know if it's, I just couldn't remember what I thought, because I think it was just like, so how long more are we going to be here? I mean, I guess what people need to know is I had no control over my own schedule. My schedule was not my schedule. I had no control over what the day was going to be. So I just tried to make things not so, and I've been diagnosed with like ADD and like being treated now, but I hadn't then. So like I couldn't focus for anything, and like I wasn't a very motivated person. And so that's why you and Mom are so crazy, because you're such motivated people. You get up and you have a goal for the day. And I'm like, I'm cool. I don't even understand what I'm doing on this planet. So I'm just going to like wait for something to happen. So it's just, I don't know, just trying. I just remember being tired. Being tired a lot and thinking more about myself than you guys. Yeah. But if I did try and actually put myself and know how exciting this was for you guys, then yeah, but that can only last so long. After like 10 hours, you're kind of like over it.
Yeah, for like 5 days straight.
And then and then you're going to come back again. If you guys were shooting at the mansion, I was like, yes. Bye, I'm going to be in the room. But then they were like shooting in your room, like, well, we'll sit in the bathroom or something.
Did you have body image issues after watching the shoot?
I mean, yeah, they probably already were there to begin with, because I had never been around that many women before. And I was just like, wow. I mean, I started late into puberty. Like I didn't get my period till I was 18. I didn't get boobs till after I started taking the birth control pill at 19. So I've been told I had hips, but that was about all. So it was just, yeah, I think it was more about that. I was like, always wish I had boobs, wish I had something to put in a shirt, and because it wasn't something I ever thought of. Like I was pretty much just a tomboy through most of high school, for the first part of high school. So, just didn't, like literally you see pictures of me, I'm like nothing. And in some of those episodes, I don't have bras on. And I'm like, oh my God, because I had nothing. And there's like these little things sticking out. And I was like, and sometimes when I was wearing a bra, it was like obvious. Like I'd be like a white shirt with a white bra. And like nowadays it's like taboo, like, because you can see the white bra, you need to wear a tan bra and some flesh tone. So it's like, just, oh my God. And like this, yeah, but I had nothing. So, so that's more where this insecurity came in. I think anything about like feeling fat or whatever came later, like once I started the birth control pill. And, then that was my own personal, like, I can't, comparing myself to other people, but initially it was just not being developed. And everyone else is developed, but I had to tell myself, wait, everyone else is older than me. So,
yeah. So in the episode, I say that you called Mom and you were upset, you were feeling frumpy and ugly. But when I talked to you now, you said you don't really remember having those feelings at all.
I mean, I feel like it could have been something that I mean, definitely frumpy. I don't know about the fat, because I don't think I was so like feeling not even a part of like that level of like attractiveness and fitness, even though we were working out. But so I guess it was more about just feeling like I'm not like, I don't put makeup on, I don't do my hair, like they show me and I look, I'm like, there's nothing pretty about that face. I'm like, oh God, I was like, what am I doing? Because they always show me, I'm just like, and I'm like, yeah, it's great, right? Like, and my cheeks were so chubby. I mean, I always, would be like, trying to do the, and.
But we're saying now, embrace the chubby cheek. Like everybody wants the buccal fat removal, and we're like, stop, no, you'll regret it when you're older.
Yeah. Like now people are trying to put it back, and like now I've like lost most of that. It's funny. Like now I'm like, wow, where'd it go? I prefer it. I have cheeks now. Oh my goodness. I mean, like cheekbones. So it was like just not knowing what to do with myself. Like I remember one time at high school, like this girl had to show me how to put mascara on and curl my eyelashes when I like asked her, and we're in like her little like makeup locker mirror. And she was like super pretty and she was such a nice girl. And I was like, how do you get your eyelashes like that? So it was like the first time besides being with you that I was like in that world, like, so this is like something I can do and it'll look pretty. But like, you know, mom just, no offense, she wasn't a great example. Like I didn't watch her put her makeup on every morning, you know, like she'd do it. It was a task and then she went to work.
Yeah. This next question is from Magetti Ann. Hi, Anastasia. Can you tell us how staying at the mansion affected your self-esteem and self-image, and either positively or negatively?
I can't remember. Did I answer the other question all the way? I can't remember. I get lost. I think. I mean, it was both. I think it was nice to be amongst people who had kind of the, a bunch of women. We all could just discuss. Like I remember the first time I was closing the bathroom door and to take a shower, but it also blocked like Stacy and Crystal and you from using the toilet. And it was just like you just like came busting in. You're like, what are you doing? And I was like I was fine with being naked in front of you, but I was like, you're like, no one cares about that. And then Crystal then comes like walking in and goes pee. I was like, and then here comes Stacy. I was like, okay, so this is a thing. I mean, I was barely okay with being naked in front of you after like not having like been around you for a long time. And then all of a sudden I'm like, so cool. We just don't have privacy except we close the door and lock it for pooping. But that's where we draw the line. Weird. So
well, I do have to say that your showers are very long.
I don't know. I think I've streamlined it now. It's like 10-15 minutes.
I'm like, she's going to be in there an hour, so you guys either have to hold it or we need to tell her she can't close the door.
I'm going to lotion up afterwards. I don't think I'm just like in the shower the whole time. Yeah, but no, it was good. And then it was probably not good. I mean, I think when I finally became knowledgeable about my body and other people's bodies, yeah, I mean, and beauty, to me, it was also about the amount of pretty girls, beautiful women coming through, exotic, too, like in accents, and I'm just like, and different personalities that were just so cool, and seeing how everyone interacted with everybody, and I'm just like, I'm nothing like that. And that made me sad and happy and jealous, and it was just like trying to look in on myself. So that definitely was a bad time of life because I didn't know myself. So
yeah.
Let's talk about your makeover for Midsummers. What were your thoughts when we gave you the makeover? I know I brought this up to you the other night, and you tell the story.
Well, so I already knew. You had given it away like 2 days before because you saw me shaving, and you're like, no, and I was like, what? And you're like, okay, so like we're gonna like do, the girls are gonna do a makeover. The show's gonna throw for you. I was like, okay, so shaving off limits. Well, because they're gonna take you to go wax is one of the things. I'm like, oh, and you're like, you can't like shave before you wax. Like you have to wait for it to grow out. I still have like my left leg, one of the the shins is up the side is like doesn't grow in the same. Weird. Always, like, the growth is behind because I didn't have anything when they did the wax, but then I didn't continue with waxing. So yeah. Anyways, random fact. But mom had already given it away, like I think probably a few days before that, because I was so annoyed that I was like, you always kept me in the loop, but every like other night for like a month, you were, I'm going to be with Holly. I'm going to be down at the office, or I'm going to go talk to her, which was fine. But then you'd come back and like, we move on with our night or our day, but it was like consistently leaving for like an hour. And I'm like, what? the fuck is happening? I'm so annoyed. And then of course it was like, well, I thought we were gonna maybe like have dinner, eat, watch some things, especially when we got the TiVo. It was like, oh, we got a show, let's watch something. And I just sit there and wait. And I'm like, what the hell? What's happening? And then you come back and I'd ask you, I'm like, and you'd be like, oh, nothing. I'm like, so is that important to go right now and then be gone for that long and then have nothing to say when you come back? And you're like,
suspicious activity.
You're right. So I just got really lonely and I got annoyed and I was like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, what the hell's happening? Like, why can't I be involved? And I'm like, I just felt like, I was really, really annoyed because I was always in your inner circle. And it was just like, I don't get it. Like, what's wrong? And Mom's like, oh, well, I felt better after. I was like, oh, that's it? Mm-hmm. I was like, I wish that they hadn't done it because honestly, that was so, I felt so bad because like I just was like, great, I've been excommunicated. I don't even know what I did.
Oh no.
You know what's funny about that is I feel that way when it comes around my birthday time. Like all of a sudden people are being suspicious and I feel like they're like going off and doing errands together. Like I want to go on that errand. Like, oh, wait, you guys are all going to the mall? I want to go to the mall. Like why aren't I invited to the mall? Or you guys are going to go like, and I start getting like all pouty and feel left out around my birthday. And then it's all for me. It's a surprise or whatever. And I'm like, oh, well, now I kind of feel bad, but I felt so shitty leading up to this that I'd rather you just didn't do it and I got to go with you.
Yeah. And it wasn't like my birthday. So like, there wasn't like, it was that. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. I was like, I guess this is just our new relationship was what I was thinking. I was like, but I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back here if this is how these things are going to continue.
Well, one
dramatic like that.
Once we presented you with this makeover, were you excited? Were you nervous? Were you dreading it? Like, what was your feelings towards it?
Yeah, I was excited. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. I could definitely use it. Yeah, I mean, it was really cool to like have it for once, like the camera be on me and people thinking of me and, even though I typically don't like that, but it was cool. It was nice because it wasn't just about, oh, now it's about me. It was like, I get to be kind of with you guys. Like I got to be kind of brought in and I got to get the hair done too. And, so it was nice because I always felt like an outsider, which was fine, but it was like, not being like part of the friend group kind of thing. Like I always did feel like an outsider. So it was less about, I guess, about being me. It was me, like I finally get to join in,
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah, that's the way I looked at it too. I looked at it as like, not that we needed to change you or anything like that, but you sit there and watch us get hair done for hours and makeup done for all the parties and all the events. And you're constantly going with me while I'm shopping for all these outfits, for all these things that I have to do or parties I have to go to. And you're just kind of tagging along for the ride. It's never about you. And so this was kind of a way to like make it about you one of the days. Like we're shopping for you. We're getting your hair done. We're getting your makeup done. This is like all about you and not to change you, but to make you feel good and make it all about you for once, however you wanted it to be. Like you had a say in what was happening too. Like if you didn't want to be tan, you didn't have to be tan. If you didn't want hair extensions, you didn't have to do hair extensions, Right.
I mean, yeah, but then there wouldn't have been a makeover.
Right.
I was already like, that was assumed. I mean, I wasn't going to like say, oh no, I don't think so. The waxing I could have done without. I think that was the one thing.
Well,
that was the best scene, though.
I know the scene is so funny. I'm definitely going to get to that, but before that, we go to the spa first. Mm-hmm. That was amazing. When I was rewatching all that, I was like, oh, I want to be doing that right now.
Yeah, no, I was like, and there was times that we think we had gone to the spa before that, like just
yeah.
It wasn't like super often, so I wasn't always like on the outside on that one, but it was like fun to like have it be a girls thing. And it was a little weird when they're like filming it and you're like half naked and you're like, okay, like what are we doing here? Like, so it wasn't really relaxing, but it was still fun to be pampered, Of course, it's just kind of like, okay, now you're gonna go sit in the spa. I was like, okay. And I was like, I don't really want to take my clothes out, my robe off. Like I saw myself like just sitting on the edge. And I was waiting for them just to cut so that I could relax,
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, we were talking about it in our episode. Are you somebody, if you go to the spa, do you are you nude at the spa, or do you wear a swimsuit at the spa?
I've never been to a spa except with you.
Oh.
So I don't know, but I probably, one, I would never just go to the spa by myself. And if I did somehow find myself there, I would probably not be nude. But I would be like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't even get my nails done. Sometimes I just want to get them done because that's cool, because I would really like one, because the nails are not great. And we used to do that all the time. That was fun. But like, I've never, once we didn't hang out at the mansion, I don't just go get nails. The last time I had it done was with you in Sherman Oaks. When you're at the house, we went and got our nails done when I came to see you.
It's funny because there, like, as much things as you weren't allowed to do with us or didn't get to do with us, there were a lot of things that you did get to do. Like, I was able to take you to the spa with me and get massages and go, you know, sit in the hot tub and all that kind of stuff. We were able to both get our nails and toes done, and
yeah, I got a little too pampered on that because it was just like, I just thought that this is the way it should be. I mean, I knew it wasn't, but I was like, damn, what, you can't get your nails done. I remember seeing my nails in the episode. I'm like, whose nails are those? I'm like, those are...
That's funny. Then we went shopping for your outfit. We went to Claire Pettibone, and we went to but you actually got your outfit at Victoria's Secret. And I remember not that long ago, I was like looking through my bins and stuff, and Mom was like sending you some video of what was in some of your bins, and she pulled out this framed outfit, and it was your Midsummer's outfit all framed.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know what to do with it. I was like not gonna ever wear it again. But yeah, I was like, oh, this is cool. So I did like a shadow box thing and how the jewelry and everything like that. I remember there being one other girl at the mansion that one of the girls was wearing the same outfit, and I was like, well, I should have expected that. It was Victoria's Secret after all. I was shocked that was only one person. But I was like, but on my night of all nights, come on, we should like scoured the Victoria's Secrets in the area. I mean, like, no one can take this outfit. Okay. I was like, well, at least I look better. Which is sad. That's what you always think. Like, you judge yourself. You're like, what do I think how I look about compared to her, you know? And I was like, I think I look better.
Well, that's what you got to do. You got to have that confidence. So it doesn't matter if somebody else is wearing your thing.
Yeah. What'd you say?
You just got to have that confidence. You're right. So it doesn't matter if somebody else is wearing your thing.
Yeah, no. Well, because, yeah, especially at the mansion, like, that maybe I was better than just some person coming in off the street. But then, you know, here comes, like, the Playmate of the Year, and you're like, it was fun for a second.
Well, and then next in the makeover, Holly takes you to get lunch. You get boobs.
Yes. Mel's Diner was amazing. I was like, so the food. Yeah, and the first thing that my husband said last night, he's like, those don't match your skin color. Who's that supposed to be for? I'm like, yeah, I think we returned them after that.
Yeah.
Like, the one thing they don't mention us saying is like, these are really dark.
Yeah.
And then Holly takes you to get waxed, and we were commenting about how amazing, how brave you were. Like, you didn't even seem nervous at all. Like, I would be shitting my pants if I were going to get waxed.
Well, I was already waxing, like, my, like, I feel like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, my upper lip and my eyebrows. Yeah, I don't know. I think I tried a few times at home just by myself, which is painful. Yeah, I mean, it was a little scary at first, like, just, okay, yeah, this is going to happen. But, once I realized how painless it really was, I was like, oh, yeah, because it's not that bad. I was just like, wish I had let the hair grow out a little bit more, had a little bit more knowledge of this happening so I could actually make this not like something I was going to have 10 years down the road. My legs hair is like frozen differently. And now I watched that episode. I'm like, oh, now I probably would have done the Brazilian. Like, doesn't matter if everyone's looking. It just wouldn't have been nice. But I was like, no, nobody's looking. How's that my response? What was like? I was like, no, actually, everybody was going to be looking because like you're coming down the stairs with like literally a thong on. I was like, I should have thought, yeah, people are looking. Yeah, no. I was like, who was here? Because I don't think Holly was in there with me. Like, I was like, I need some advice here. I should have done that.
What did you think of the tanning lady? I mean, I'm sorry, the waxing lady.
Oh, she was crazy. And just like acting like I'm like, she made a really good, like name for herself, that Sweet Cheeks or whatever. I just remember watching the episode last night going like, how she asked me, oh, have you met Hef? And I was like, of course, like, stupid question. Like, she was like, she knew I was like, I stayed there, they were filming. And then she's like, oh, have you met him? Like, and I was like, yeah.
No, I think they told her to ask some things. I think they prepped her and like, oh, can you ask her this? Can you ask her that? Because I feel like, I mean, that's just my theory, because I feel like it just played off so perfectly and the scene was so funny. I just feel like it was a little too good to be true.
Yeah. But I thought she was cool. I then only heard, I couldn't hear the end of it then from like Bridget about my granny underwear. I was like, you know what? I'm proud. I wear granny underwear to this day, and they give me no panty lines. I was like, I was going to be sensible, and probably also didn't think that there was going to be a full butt slap in the end. I was like, wow, that's lovely. Okay, yep. I was like, you know what? If I had gone in with something like plus I didn't owe anything. If I was going to do a thong or something, it would have been yours. And they're so uncomfortable. And I didn't have any cute boy shorts or anything. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking I'm going to be sensible because now I have to go get a tan. So I don't, I want to wear something that is breathable and has room. So I'm not like taking the tan off, being too tight or whatever, which in hindsight, then a thong probably would have been best. But these are things that I didn't think about, And then I'm like sitting there going, oh yeah, maybe that would have been better. That big butt in the white underwear does not look great.
Well, from a modesty perspective, though, it's probably the smarter choice since you're being filmed, just to like cover up.
Yeah, I was like, I really don't want someone, But then Eric, the camera guy, was like, are you okay if I come in with your tanning? And I was like, because you're completely naked. And I was like, sure, while the person was doing it. I mean, I'd already been like, I had done this before. Like I'd done fake spray tans with the person that did it, and just like the machine too. But so he was in there, and they never even used that footage. But I was like, it was like the first time that I was like, am I going to be okay? Like that's the first time I was like really like being filmed naked. Because the other times, like at the spa or whatever, I was like holding something as I would flip over while they were filming or whatever, or do it in between their filming. So yeah. I was like, I don't know how they were going to cut that anyways to make that look, because it's like all dark in there and everything. So I don't know how that would, but poor Eric, I was hot. He was sweating. It was just like, it was just been a hot, long day. I was all sticky from the freaking wax. I was like, this is, because Bridget's like, wait, you're going to take her and go get the spray tan, then get her waxed? You can't do that. And I was like, exactly. But then having it so close together, like I was like sitting in Holly's nice car, and I was just like, I just feel like I just don't want to touch anything. I was getting tanner on her leather seats, and I was like, just trying to lift my thighs up off the thing, and I'm like all goopy from the wax. I'm like, this is just like, I felt so uncomfortable at the end of the day. I'm like, I just want to go home, shower, but I couldn't. The tan has to sit on your skin.
It's the price we pay for beauty.
Yeah. And then you said like I was so dark. I'm like, yeah, but I always got really dark tans because they always look dark, and then you wash them off, and then.
Well, see, here's the thing. I wish Holly and I were saying we wish that they would have left this scene in, because you guys come back. First of all, I wasn't feeling well, and I fell asleep on that like seat, the window seat thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I had like a super bad migraine. And then they come in, busting in the room, flipping on all the lights, trying to put a mic on me. Like, we got to do this scene. And I'm like, wait, what? And then I look at you, and you look like you just fell in a mud puddle. Like, you look dirty and just streaky and awful. And I don't think I'd ever had a spray tan before. So I wasn't like aware that this gets washed off tomorrow. And I was just like, what the hell happened? Like, this is terrible. Like, this looks awful.
Yeah. I mean, because like I would tan when you would tan, but you would be tanning all year. And obviously when I went back home to Northern California, I wasn't tanning. So to play catch up, like for any like parties, like I was like, oh yeah, I gotta get the spray tan. So it was like, but you have to like let it sit, and it's just like, yeah. So I would always go like dark. I don't
Yeah.
think I have control necessarily on that tan, so that's probably why it was even more shocking. I'm not sure what package they chose, but when I had done it, it was always like, well, okay, thank God, this is like my eyes would just be like white coming out of my everything else, just like my lips would be like pasty white. I'm like, okay, it's gonna look better. It's okay.
It did look good once it was done. It looked good, but like at first I was like,
definitely orange though. Like in the pictures and even in the episode, I'm like, yep, no, it still looks orange.
so I have a few
Yes.
questions here from you for Franz. Holly LA11. Oh wow. Hi Anna. What did you do with the fake boob cutlets that Holly got you? I thought that scene was so silly.
I've used them. I used them well and a lot, and then they started falling apart, so I had to throw them away.
No.
Yeah, eventually, like they just like don't. I don't know. Like the gel broke. I think
But you didn't use them that night, I don't think. The night of Midsummer's.
I used something. Yeah, I did.
You did?
I did not fill that bra out at all. No, I definitely used something.
Oh, I thought you didn't.
And I remember thinking, oh my God, they're just going to jiggle out because there's like a gap now. But, no, I was like, I got to do something. But then I definitely used them when I started like going out, like just by myself, like after like the mansion, like on my own. I remember like being with a guy and I was like, we're making out, like just don't look. And he'd be like, I'm just need to take something out. I remember taking them out. I was like sitting still by my purse. I'm like, okay, we can continue now. So I was like reaching in and being like, what the hell? I'm like, because I had nothing. I didn't, so I was accentuate.
This next question is from Kristen BMD. Hi, Anastasia. I've been so excited for your episode. Okay, so I've always wanted to know, after receiving your first bikini wax on TV, did you have people come to you and just start talking about it? Like, I just imagine being in the grocery store and having some creepy dude come and talk awkwardly about my bikini line after that.
No, I think the only thing was you and whoever was going to laugh about my granny underwear. It was like literally I got more flack from you and people would laugh whenever you mentioned. I was like, but I've never got any random people come talk to me. I don't think, luckily that was not something that was talked about except for in close circles.
The next one is from Rachel Renee. Anastasia, I love the episodes you were on. No questions that haven't already been asked, but the episode where you got the makeover and bikini wax, what was up with that wax technician? The woman slapping your butt after the bikini wax? I always thought that was such an odd thing to do to someone.
And I was like they should have been on the other end of that filming my face because I was like, I was like not expecting that we were finishing, and then it was just like she pulled my underwear up, almost gave me a wedgie, and then did the slap, and I was like, I was not prepared. So my face was like this. I was like, so like that would have been the funnier. I wasn't like, oh yeah, this is expected. I was like, what is this? S&M? What are we doing here? Don't slap me.
So the idea of this makeover was for each of us to have like a part in it. And I can't, like, the show doesn't show Kendra taking part in it at all. And I was just curious if it was like edited out, or do you remember what Kendra's part was or what happened with that?
No, I know that you asked me this a few weeks ago and I was trying to think. I was like, oh, well, how about the salon? You're like, well, you just happened to run into her at the salon. I'm like, oh. I was like, I thought maybe she took me to that. I'm like, then, yeah, probably not. No, because they couldn't pin her down. Like, it wasn't something she cared about enough, which is fine. I mean, I wouldn't have cared if I were her either. And she was just not something that was going to fit into her day because she didn't start her day till, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So they also just could not figure a time out. I had to be in, like, doing, if I was going to do like a hair extension thing, it had to be there early. Like, when you dropped me off and left. So like there's stuff like that, and like the all day, like, tanning and waxing that Holly did, and then like spa thing with you, those are things that there's no way she would have done.
So speaking of the hair extensions and the hair color and stuff, I think that was the most dramatic part of your whole makeover.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah. No,
Did you
I did until I didn't. Until you go home to Northern California and you have no one to help you take care of these things, and you're sitting in a bathtub trying to gently wash them with the soap that doesn't soap, because you can't have anything too rough on those hair extensions, and you just have to wait for them to grow out, and you just feel like nasty.
I
was
forgot
so
about the special shampoo for those individual extensions. That brought back a memory.
Never, ever cleaned your hair.
Yeah,
like,
it was very, like, weird.
And you could only wash your hair, like, once a week if you really wanted to keep them in good shape. And I'm just like, every time I wake up in the morning, it was just like this big tangle of hair that's not my hair. I was like, oh my God. I was like so ready I was so happy to get them out. I was so happy.
But you liked it when they were in.
Yeah, I wish it was permanent.
Yeah, I know, right?
I was like, you just put a wig on me or something.
So, okay, cut to Midsummer's Day now. They kind of kept you sequestered from us. I think they got you ready in the game house. Did your hair and makeup out there?
Oh, I didn't realize that there was like actually rooms and bathrooms in the game house. I was like, where did this? I was like, if I would have known then all that time before when I was in the van room, I probably would have just. I think there probably was rooms, but maybe those were even creepier. I don't know. It's like, what are these rooms doing here? This is cool. Yeah, and then we tried to meet up, and they were really scared. They were very Fort Knox, and I was like, yeah, let's do it, come on. And you're like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna sneak out, and and I went to the back door, and they're like, there's like a little patio I think out there, and there's like, and I was you were gonna like traverse down, and they were in the process of doing like my hair and makeup, but you just wanted to see how like everything was together, especially the hair. And they're like, what are you doing? And I was like, nothing. And I was like, scrap it. I was like,
we tried.
Usually I got ready with you guys.
Yeah.
And so it's just like really like lonely. This is like, oh, this is so sad to not be with everybody.
Were you nervous to come and show us, or were you excited?
I was excited.
You did the first reveal in our room, in my room.
That was the best part. Then when they said I was going to go downstairs, I was like, oh. I was like, can we just already have me at the party? I was like, you see me walking down those stairs, I'm like.
It looked so nerve-wracking. I would have died.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't like this at all. Just don't trip. That could have gone really bad. I'm like, I don't want people looking up my skirt, but obviously you can see it. That's where the Brazilian would have come in handy. No one's zooming in. Yeah, no, I was just like, okay, just cool, walk down, and then it's over.
And so I don't even think that I realized that they were going to have you do this big reveal coming down the stairs. Like I kind of thought the room was it, but then the crew was like, oh no, we're going to do like, you guys all have to go downstairs and wait for her. Like we're going to do this big reveal.
I was like, what?
And then what did it mean to you to have Mom there?
I almost forgot that Mom was there.
I did too, till I watched the episode. I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot Mom was there.
I think I was even more upset then that I couldn't get ready with you guys because Mom's never was there. And I'm like, wait, so she got to be with you? Because that was the thing too, like you and Mom were going to sneak down and like kind of hang out with me in the game house. So it wasn't just about seeing me. It was like passing the time because everyone was like ready and they were just doing final touches. But like we saw like a couple of hours before like the party started. And it was like, we could just like hang out,
Yeah.
And that was the hardest part. So seeing Mom, I was like, yay, Mom's here.
Because and Holly and I have talked about this on the show before. Getting ready before the parties was one of the funnest parts about living at the mansion.
Even when I wasn't going to the parties, like that was always fun. And then I'd peek out because it wasn't just the midsummer party. It was like all the other parties that I were either didn't go to or when I did go to them, that was the best part. It'd be like such a memorable like experience because we like jacked the AC up because it get really hot and there were all like hair dryers and everything like that. And then we'd forget to turn it down and you go in like half drunk to go to the bathroom for the millionth time and touch up your makeup, and every time you went in there it was like
it's like the freezer,
but like, and no matter what you did though, like you just could not get it to warm up, and you're like by the time at the end of the night you're like crawling into your PJs, you're like, I just want to go to bed but it's so cold.
That's funny because somebody did ask us about the thermostats and I thought, you know what, I remember touching it. But then when you just said that, like I do remember that we had to turn it all the way down on a like getting ready in the room day because of all the people and the the hair dryers and all that stuff. It was just so much.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So how was the party?
Good, great. I think it was my second one. So it was nice to finally be, a part of it and not hiding around the outskirts.
Yeah.
It was a blur. I don't think I remember. I'm not even quite sure. I mean, I know I definitely drank, but I don't remember really specifics. I just had a great time. Like I always did. Like I just was like, let's dance this song. Let's dance to this song. And, then you have a little one too many. And then all of a sudden, I'm still like learning my limit. And I was like, wait, so if I have too many, I can't remember the next day what that was. So that's unhelpful. So that was sad. I'm like, well, there goes that memory. And then of course, if I do something embarrassing, but luckily I think I was just alert enough to not get to that point. So.
Okay, so now I have some questions from some of the fans. So some more questions. This is Exo Haley Exo. Hey Anastasia, did you and Colin, Kendra's little brother, ever interact, like hang out or whatever?
No. Did he come to the mansion?
Yeah. No. Okay.
It was about how much I felt hanging out with Kendra. I was like, nope. Two different planets. Never gonna happen.
Okay, I'm not sure how to say this name, but I think it's Chloes. It's CHLOTHES. Clothes? I'm not sure. So excited to see Anastasia on soon. As much fun as it probably was, what was your least favorite part about being at the mansion? Was it ever a little intimidating being there as a teen?
Definitely. I think the worst part was the following your schedule. There was a lot of times where I just decided not to go down to dinner and a movie. I was like, it's just too much. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, done. And I just started like eating upstairs and not, because like the old movies are cool, but I was like done talking to people, but like you had to do that. And it was annoying. Like, you'd be gone for like 3 hours and you're like, we can come down. I'm like, I don't want to come down.
That's right. I remember you did just stay up in the room.
Well, there's no one to talk to. It was usually older people. The playmates would be there for not that long. I remember seeing Archie, the dog, in the episode, and I looked over at my husband. I was like, "Oh, Archie, yeah, you'd be having a nice piece of cake, and all of a sudden you just let one go, and you're like, oh my god, so stinky." And it would just sit there and hover in that room. You're like,
it did hover, like it did. It was like heavy.
So
somebody
gross.
commented on one of my Instagram reels. It's a guy named Evan who used to be a butler at the mansion, and he wrote "Justice for Archie." And I go, wait, what happened? And he didn't answer me, but I think he's maybe talking about how we talked about Archie farting all the time.
What was the other dog? Lady?
Littlefoot.
Littlefoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, was she black? A black?
Mm-hmm.
A black mix of something.
Yeah, and then when they did show Spot, I was like, oh,
Scary.
It wasn't the only African crane there, but for some reason,
it's the only one that was like friendly, and I say that in quotes because it was friendly, but it was also, you had to be careful.
And with my history of birds, I was like, I don't know, they're not nice. Nothing pretty much is nice in the bird world, so just leave them alone. Hopefully they leave you alone. But they just come over. He would just come over and he just eye you, and just, I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. But
yeah.
Like, just leave it alone.
Holly, do you have a hard 2 o'clock out? Because I have like a few more questions, and I was going to just kind of recap what she's up to now.
Yeah, I can stay a little longer. Can I take a bathroom break real quick, though?
Yeah. Do you want me to keep talking?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This question is from Jeremiah R88. Hi, Anastasia. How has life in Boston been? And I loved it when I visited friends who moved out there, but being a Southern Californian, I couldn't handle the winter weather. Also, were you allowed to roam the mansion grounds while Hef and the girls were out at an event or party, or were you able to attend with them? I think we kind of talked about the second half already, but like, how's Boston?
Good. I mean, I wouldn't want to move from California if I didn't need to, but I did twice. Not planning on staying here my whole life. I wanted to be bi-coastal eventually. That's lofty as a goal as that is. But I do like what it offers. I mean, it's like way more historical stuff, way more things to do. The snow. I mean, I hate winter, but like every time it snows, it's like Santa Claus came and like, because I never had snow in my life. Literally, my story is Dad took us to see snow, but it wasn't snowing. And he peed and said, "Don't eat yellow snow." And we went home. I think I made a snow angel, not next to the pee spot, but it was not a great time. I'd never had fond memories of the snow and seeing it fall. So it's always magical. And that's one thing I'll never be able to let go. In the summers, I love. But yeah, it's good. I like it, but I miss home.
Yeah. Okay, this is Sally PA or Sally Paw. Anastasia, did you ever aspire to be like Bridget, to model or be a part of Playboy?
No, but I did try because I felt like, why not? So I think when I was 19, and I finally got the boobs from the birth control, Mom and I went and I tested. Didn't make it. But I feel like it was like I think I still had the hair extensions. I still had, like, I was still tan. So I still had that, like, opportunity, right? Like I was coming still from the makeover. So I was like, if I'm going to do it in my lifetime, I'm going to do it now. And it was more again about like, it'd be cool to be a part of that world. Like it wasn't my dream, but like it's like a family and it's like a fraternity, a sorority. So it was like, again, I wanted to like make it like official. I'm like, how cool would it be if I like came back and on my own terms, like, and it was, like official like that. That of course didn't happen. So I was like, that's probably for the best.
The next question is from Just Joy. Please ask your sister how she feels looking back at spending her teen years at the mansion, and what did her friends think when she went back home to school?
Unbelievable. I didn't have a lot of friends, but people that knew me were like, because I first like wasn't looking all that hot in freshman year. Sophomore year, I was starting to like acquire some of your makeup skills. And then junior year, I went back with a tan, with my hair done. My picture for that year, I have like a full, like Crystal taught me how to do my makeup. And I just like had my eyes all glittered and done and eyeliner on and my tan and my hair. And I was wearing like booty, like I was wearing like hip huggers. I wore my short, like crop top with my belly button ring showing to school. And I was like I totally changed everything about myself. Like I did the makeover. And then senior year came, I came back down to earth, cut my hair, did a pixie and went goth. So, this is a different way. I was like, screw that Playboy thing. I'm going to do this. So like, just like every normal teenager, minus the actual going to the mansion.
Oh, sorry. Mine froze for a second. Okay. Did you encounter any fake friends pretending to get close to you to be a part of Playboy?
No. If it was like guys that I knew, it was just because like that would be cool to go to the mansion, but it was like more like, oh, they're just jealous. Like they'd love to go to the mansion, or the girls that I knew were like, oh, that'd be so cool. But I think a lot of times it was just like, if it was people from home, they didn't even know what that was. So it was kind of like, you do what during the summer? Like, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But the guys who would know, the guys usually knew.
Yeah.
And that we're like, that's cool.
Okay, this is from Phoebe, and she has a list of questions, so we'll try and do them kind of quickly.
We love Phoebe. She asks so many questions.
Yeah. Number one, what was it like having to explain that your sister was a girlfriend? Did you generally enjoy telling the story, or did you want to keep it private?
I don't think I like came out with it at any time, but when the people that did know me back home, let out that I had been somewhere, and they're like, what? And then everyone would be like, all of a sudden there'd be like people like crowding me and surrounding me and like being like, oh my God, that is so cool. Your sister does what? And then people that were watching, like when the show came out, that's really when I was like more popular and like more like kind of like semi-famous in that world. So that was kind of cool, but it wasn't something I was like, oh my God, everybody listen up. I have a famous person that I know. So,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was
how
fun.
did your time at the mansion impact
you,
your dating?
What?
Oh,
You
sorry. Oh, sorry. How did your time at the mansion impact your dating?
I was definitely a slow bloomer, so I don't think it impacted at all. Um, it opened my eyes to like the different types of guys that are out there and what I might like, um, but yeah, no, the whole guy thing didn't start till after the mansion, anyways. Like pretty much, I think. Yeah. Well, I couldn't
What
do
beauty
anything.
or
I couldn't do anything anyways. Like there was no way I was gonna be like, we already know how that went down. So yeah, no, it wasn't like I had the freedom either just to like start like a relationship with anybody, and there was no interest. So
what beauty or self-care tips did you pick up that you practiced?
Crystal teaching me how to do makeup. I mean, I still can't do my hair to save my life, but like I utilized her and her skills to do the best glitter smoky eye. She's so good with the makeup. I was like, that's the one thing. She would always like start getting annoyed because for the other party, they'd be like, Crystal, you gotta do my makeup. Crystal. She'd be like, what? And I'm like, she's like, it's like I did it for you a couple of times as a favor, and now you just act like you did it. And I was like, because you're the best at it. So I just had to start doing it. I had to learn it because she started being so annoyed with me. And I felt bad. So I was definitely like using her in that way. Same with Laurent. Like I'd try and sneak my hair in there. Like once the Midsummer's thing was over, there was no like, gratuitous like, oh yeah, she's going to be included. Because you guys, they have paid for your guys' stuff to get done. So I would be like, just sitting there waiting, see if you had time to just do something with my hair for the party. And I'd be like, and they're like, okay. And Crystal's like, I'm busy. I'm doing my own stuff. I'm like, please. I feel bad, like thinking about that, but there was just like a precedent to be set at that point, but I didn't have the money to pay for it.
Yeah, and I feel like the rest of her questions have been answered. She was asking about if you were able to use the amenities and what you did when I wasn't around and the mean girls and that kind of stuff. Vonna, Vona, what are you up to now and what is it like for you at the mansion and what was it like for you at the mansion as a sister? So I guess we'll do that second part first.
Fun. I mean, once people like knew who I was, like especially after like during the UCLA times when I'd come after a class or whatever, and I could just show up at the back gate and like walk on and be like, oh yeah, it's Anastasia, your sister's doing da da da. It was like, that was cool, but it was nerve-wracking initially when I wasn't sure of like your place in the lineup of people and girls, and like your slot wasn't secured. Like there was a lot about too, like who's jockeying for what role and what room and what title and what number. So but yeah, once we settled in, and it was like, oh yeah, it's just Anastasia. I'm like, yeah, hey, what's up? So it's like, cheers.
Yeah. And what are you up to now?
Working, veterinary technician in Boston, and yeah, I really love it. Just decided to make that my thing right when I started college. I was like, I don't know what I want to do with my life, but it should not involve math or science because I hate those subjects. But people were like, you can still be in like the vet field and not have to be like a super nerdy math person. So I was like, well, I'm not going to be a vet, but vet tech suits me very well and I love it. So thank you, froze.
Oh, now I'm back. I know,
Yeah.
It keeps freezing. Sorry. And you're married?
I'm married. Yes. You put a ring on it.
You put a ring on it, and you guys have been together forever. Like you guys, he's been to the mansion.
Yes. Yep. And he likes to discuss how I brought him into that world. Unfortunately, he was trying to be like a serious actor, and he was like, when it came conflicting with us being together in the show, he was just like, I don't want to be known like that. And I'm like, okay, got it. So yeah.
And you have 2 kitties.
Together, you say 2 kids. I'm like, I have 2 kids.
Somebody should have told me.
I was like, really? Yes, I do. The Star Wars trio is no more, unfortunately, but Wookiee rest in peace. But I have still Jawa and Tatooine.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm definitely a crazy cat lady. Everyone knows that at work. It's pretty much my meme. Anytime a cat comes in, it's Anastasia's got to see it. So, yeah, but I love that, the cuteness.
Yeah. Well, I've talked about Wookiee a couple of times on the show, especially during our Slumber Party Patreons, because people have, like, we do what's called an advice section. People can ask us for advice, like, what, you get what you get, but still you can ask us. And a lot of people have talked about, like, how to, like, recover from a pet loss or, like, grieve a pet and stuff. So I've talked about my loss with Winnie and Gizmo, and yours, which is even more recent, and how hard it is. And we understand, because it's like every day is different, and every day it's hard and it doesn't just go away. But
right, yeah, and you and Mom both helped me after that. Like, even though you were super busy, like at the Ghost convention, like I would just call you up like 2 or 3 times, and you guys would be like, "Well, we're just flying in. We're just getting to the hotel," and then you guys would cry with me, and you guys found that little card, and it's like you said with Winnie. After Winnie, that was my first real death, human. I haven't even experienced really a human death that I've had attachment to, but so I can't go through that yet. But the pet loss, I've lost pets, but this was my first one, and that my husband and I had together, and I'm definitely a different person, and I'm never going to get that back. I don't want to.
Yeah,
so.
It's hard. Somebody asked, Just Joy asked, were you ever on Holly's World or Bridget's Sexiest Beaches?
No, I don't think so. Right?
Not on Holly's World. I don't know about beaches.
No, the beaches was completely. I remember you being gone, and you were leaving the mansion, and I had to pack you up while I was going to UCLA and living at the dorm, and so that was always fun. Like, the twins would poke their head in every once in a while, and I'm like, I'm still here packing. It's not your room yet. Bye.
Oh, they were dying for that room.
Yeah, I'd just be like, I'm just taking my time. I'd be like so annoyed. I'd be like, listen, interlopers, just wait, okay? With their little meaty paws off the doorknob.
Why wasn't anybody trying to
the whole thing up?
Why wasn't anybody trying to move into room 2? Like, because who was in room 2?
Well, I thought Bridget's. Oh, well, because it smelled like piss. Because Kendra's dogs ruined it.
You're right. I forgot about that.
And they scratched all the carpet away from the door too. Well, also, I think didn't the twins want their own separate room?
No, I think they both lived in room 3.
Oh.
And then there's one last question. This is from Nikki Tana. She said, did Anastasia feel that living at the mansion gave her body dysmorphia? It would for me.
Yeah. I mean, I did the, anorexia. I did the binge, the purging, whatever, but not till afterwards. And I think that it was less about the mansion than it was like my own personal situation. I was trying to look good for a guy. And, when you're at the mansion, you just have a little bit more, you have a lot of access to food, and you have definitely a little bit more easy time to live in that world. Like, a lot of girls were doing it. And so it's kind of normal, but like trying to take that back home and like, I'm not a quiet vomiter. So like that just didn't really work out that well. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I gave myself a hernia, umbilical hernia.
Oh.
A lot of bloodshot eyes. Oh yeah, no, like the girls that did do it, I'm like, how the fuck do you do this?
I'm sorry to hear about that. I had no idea this was going on. Like, I knew one person had that, but
yeah,
I didn't know it was so common.
I felt like it was. I mean, especially even the previous stories that I'd heard about like the twins and everything. But just the people that we were surrounding ourselves with, I mean, Bridget was not doing it, and I think you even caught me one time. Like, I didn't flush the toilet twice or something was the giveaway. And there was like stuff still in there. I was like, what? I'm like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, I totally caught you.
I just didn't realize that I also didn't really, I wanted to eat, but I knew if I ate, I couldn't keep up with like the new body type that I had like been liking. So that's like, okay, well, I'm going to have to eat because I'm hungry, and food tastes good. Like, it was just like weird, but I didn't really, like, I don't have that now. I mean, like, I still worry about getting fat and stuff and being out of shape, but like back then it was like do or die. Like, I can't let myself get a cellulite. I can't myself get, a stomach. Like you're in that world, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the only things we didn't ask are the questions that I prepped you for beforehand is, what was your favorite experience at the mansion? What was your craziest experience or weirdest experience at the mansion? And what was your least favorite experience at the mansion?
Yeah. So I can sum it all up with like, met a famous person who didn't know who I was. We hit it off right away. I thought I could leave because I was super drunk. So he's like, you want to go back to my hotel, which wasn't like that. He was having like another party with like all his friends. So we got in a limo. I'm like barely remembering part of any of that story. We kissed. And then I remember like sitting in the hotel room, and there's like some of the butlers was in part of that party and was like, they're looking for her. She needs to go back.
Oh,
and
no.
he's like, oh, they're like, yeah, they're looking under like rocks for her. So like, we got to get her back. Cause she didn't told nobody. And I was like, well, cause I knew if I told people, they'd probably say no. But I was like, yeah, I can come and go as I like. So that was the craziest. And initially it was the funnest. And I really loved I was also really skinny, and I could fit into that like silver dress you are wearing in the opening of The Girls Next Door.
Mm-hmm.
Although I had like no boobs for it, but didn't matter. But the worst, and it trumps all of the fun and the crazy part of it, was waking up in the guest house and Mom calling me, and I'm so hungover, and she's like, do you know why you're there? And I was like, she's like, Bridget is very, very upset with you and disappointed in you. And I just like,
oh
no, so upset with you. She doesn't want to see you. She doesn't want to talk to you.
Vanished.
You let everyone down. Like everyone was like scared that you were kidnapped or something happened to you on their watch. And like she's obviously trying to get me to understand the importance of what I had done. I mean, obviously I was like crying, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna like apologize to people, but how am I even gonna like get even like back? Like I was calling on the landline because I didn't. You had my cell phone, and you held it like all day. Like, you finally threw it back to me when he kept texting, and you're like, just text him back. And I was like, who? And you're like, duh. And I was like, oh. And I was so at that point over the whole thing. I was like, I don't even want to talk to him again. Seriously, Bridget, I'm so sorry. And you're like, it's just you do what you want to do. And I was like, and I was like, hi. I was like, literally, I was sleeping on the floor when I went back to your room that night. I didn't get to go. I didn't even climb back into the bed.
Well, okay, here's my version of it. So it's a party. Everybody's having fun. Anastasia's like doing her own thing, whatever. I'm not like super on top of all of that. Like, we're in a safe environment in this mansion, and security's not going to let anything happen to her. I'm confident of that. And then night's over, and it's late. It's like 3 a.m. or something like that. We all come back to my room, and it's like, where's Anastasia? And they're like, there's like Crystal and Stacy and stuff in my room and stuff. And they're like, everybody's like, and I'm like, no, like, where the fuck is Anastasia?
Oh,
and then it's like, Crystal's like, well, like, I don't know. I think she met somebody, like, and I'm like, no, like, seriously, what the fuck is happening right here? I'm like, did she leave? Did she leave the property? She's like, well, I didn't see her like get in the car or anything, but like there was like talk of, and I'm like, then I'm on the phone with security. Did my sister leave the property? Did my sister leave the fucking property? And they're like, we don't have her off the property. And I'm like, well, I can't find her. So everybody's looking, all the butlers, everybody that's still up is looking, security is looking, everybody's calling people. That butler that you were talking about that was at the after party with you, he was no longer working the party, but they still called him and were like, hey, have you seen Anastasia? She's missing off the property. And then that's when he was like, oh shit, you guys, there's a problem. Like, Bridget's freaking out. I called my parents at 3 a.m. and I was like, your daughter's gone. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but she is gone. Like, she's not on the property. She didn't tell me she was going anywhere. Like, I'm not going to sit around and wait to tell you. I know you need to know right away. So I'm going to tell you right now, she's missing. And then I start getting text messages from the person that you're with saying, no, it's cool. It's me. It's fine. And I'm like, no, it's not cool. It's not cool. I'm like, it's not cool that it's not cool. So like, you need to get her back here like yesterday, like now. And then they did. And then security was like, I have your sister at the gate. I'm like, she can sleep in the guest house or whatever's open. I don't even care if it's the game house, like whatever. I don't want to see her. Like, I'm so pissed right now. And like, everybody's involved in this. I think even Hef got cued in on it. And I'm like, this is just so embarrassing. And I just can't right now.
What party was this? What year?
New Year's of like 2006.
Oh man.
No, not 2000. Wait. Did we discussed that it was the first year that you guys were filming, like that they didn't want to film
New Year's 2006.
Yeah. I think the security guy put Mark or whatever must have put me to bed. It was so nice.
Yeah, so that was your craziest time. That happened later though, and we have so much more to talk to you about because that's just like the tip of the iceberg. Like when we first started filming, you're in so many more episodes. We have your 21st birthday. That's 3 years down the road.
That's
like
one of
we
my
just have
memories.
So much more to talk about, but obviously we'll have to have you back on because this is like a record long show and there's just so much, but we hope you'll come back on and tell us more stories about how things went after this point.
Yes.
I would love that. Cool.
Awesome. Thanks, Anastasia.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. We need to like do a Madonna Inn reunion.
All right.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Thank you.